Welcome to the Diane Ingram Show. I'm your host, life coach Diane Ingram. Today I'm going to be talking with Marilyn Collins, Information Technology Project Manager. And we saw Marilyn about a month ago, and she wanted to find more courage. She was having trouble in her new job finding the courage she needed to walk into client meetings with that sense of, here I am, I'm here to help you, and to feel really confident about that. So what we did is we looked to her past, times when she experienced courage in her earlier part of her life. And very easily she came up with a plan of when she started running. She was never a runner, but she met some people who were, and they urged her to start doing it. In very short order, she decided to train for and run a marathon. And she ended up doing 10 of them over the years, 10 New York City marathons. Quite an accomplishment. So what we did is we talked about her bringing some of those medals into her everyday space, maybe hanging them near her computer or near her closet where she gets ready to go out to work, and having that remind her that she actually has the courage inside of her. We all have times in our lives when we feel short on courage. And we also have times in our lives when we actually experienced ourselves being courageous. Think back in your life. What have you done in the earlier part of your life that was courageous? And is there a symbol that you can bring forth into your everyday life that will inspire you to step out now and take those big steps that you'd like to in order to actualize your life? Oftentimes when we get older, we start getting a little more timid. We're a little shyer, a little more timid. We're not stepping out quite as much. So by finding those things in our life, those times in our life when we experience the courage and bringing those symbols into our everyday life, it reminds us it's there inside of us. It might be dormant, but it's there inside of us, just waiting to be expressed. So stay tuned. We'll see how Marilyn did. So welcome back. Today we're with Marilyn Collins, Information Technology Project Manager. Welcome, Marilyn.
Thank you, Diane.
Good to see you again.
Thank you. I'm really happy to see you too.
Yes. So we were together a couple of months ago, and what we talked about was, why don't you describe it, actually, what you were looking for?
Well, actually, as I remember it, Diane, I was looking for courage. I found that as a technology project manager, I deal with a lot of clients. I'm in a new client situation a lot, and I have this, or was having this kind of panic about, oh, I hope I can help. I hope they don't find out that I can't help, and just that general lack of courage. So I think when we were talking, the thrust of what I wanted was I want to calm down. I'm very experienced. I know I have a lot to offer, but I'm not getting it out of myself in like quite the most comfortable, at least comfortable manner for me.
Okay.
So that was kind of where we started.
Great. And then what we got to at the end was you want to describe that piece too?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing that I was going to do to help bring structure, and as a technology project manager, we love structure. So, and I think, Diane, this was actually one of the things that you suggested for me, was to have a template, a checklist, but to go into a client site, or to be able to go into a client site prepared to, even if it's just what questions to ask, but to get the flow of information gathering going in a calm and collected manner. So that was a huge gift, to just say, okay, well then get organized so you relieve some of that initial anxiety at those initial client meetings.
And how did that go?
Well, two things. Part of it has gone really well because I have actually prepared a template that I'm really comfortable with. And the point of this, again, it's kind of like a checklist, but it's when you're dealing with a new client and kind of starting from the beginning in terms of, so what information do I need to know? And leaving the client lots of opportunity for what information they want to share. So putting that together, how did it go part? The putting it together was actually very successful. I did some iterations of it. I asked some of my colleagues to look at it.
Great, yeah.
And ultimately what we did with it is, with a new client assignment that we have, we use this this is how we're going to get started. So the good news is I have it and I really like it. And then it's not the good news yet, is I haven't actually seen the results of, so did it get you everything you needed?
Okay.
But I'm feeling that even, like no matter how much, so we're going to be collecting information, and no matter how much we got, it's a good thing. So it's not like, okay, so if I don't know, if I didn't get something, then fine, it's a hole and we'll circle back and fill it in.
So how did it help you as far as courage goes?
Totally it took the anxiety away.
In what way?
Well, because now I knew, like I had thought about it ahead of time and planned out, like what do I think I need to know? Mm-hmm. You know, it was harder for me to kind of think about what does the client need to tell me. That part I don't exactly know. But for this, I feel I had a roadmap, and it meant everything. It made me feel great.
Wonderful.
And so I really, and I'm pretty sure that, I don't know if that was your idea or you coached me into having it be my idea, but I loved it.
Wonderful.
So it was really,
I'm glad it worked for you.
And it really, so I have a lot of confidence, and it's being put to the test. I wish I could give you the result of it right now, but I can't. It's just, it's out there being worked on by the client right now.
Wonderful, and I think you've agreed to come on again for this.
Yes,
so we
you
can
had
follow
mentioned
up.
that. I would love to do that because I'd really like to tell you then what happens, and also like how did the client feel about it? Do you know what I mean? Was I invasive or intrusive, or was it, I'm going to be interested in how the client perceives it too.
Wonderful. I can't wait to hear about that.
Yes.
And then there was another piece that we found that would be supportive for you, to remind you of the accomplishments that you've had in the past, and to help you bring that into the present and realize that you've had a lot of successes. You've been in a lot of situations where it was unknown territory and you actually mastered that. So why don't you share that piece?
Okay. So this was kind of, I thought it was funny when you had mentioned this, and it reminded me how close to home like accomplishments are. As I would struggle, I could think for 2 minutes on what is a recent accomplishment I've had and struggle with it. But the truth is, they're right around us. So what the accomplishment was that we had talked about the last time was, and I think you asked me in this context, you said, well, is there something that you've been like successful at? And of course, I'm thinking, well, I think we maybe talked about parenting, that, I'm in the process of raising a child.
And
so
that's always hard to measure about success.
But I'm still alive.
Right.
And so is my child.
Right.
So, and my husband. So, but the accomplishment that you kind of got me thinking about was I'm a marathon runner. So, and in fact, I have run 10 New York City marathons. My friends have been totally surprised by that because I'm a non-athletic person. So it was really quite out of the blue, even the fact that I started running, and I was more interested in what shoes to wear, will I get lost in the park, and what happens when you sweat. So I was kind of like not in it. But however, I eventually got to my first marathon, and then obviously nine more, and I never. One did not actually build on the other. Each one was quite a lot of work in its own right. But the work is organized. Like running a marathon is like anything else. And, raising kids, doing a job, saving money for something, it all takes a certain discipline. So I think what you had asked me was, well, did I have any medals? Is there something to remind me of my of my accomplishment. And what I actually have, and I brought it. I hope this.
Oh, wonderful! So
I want to
love
show you, and
yeah.
I'm gonna point it this
yes,
way.
yeah.
This is a photograph, and it's my first marathon,
Wow.
and it is my support team for my first marathon. And they did. So I'm not sure how much of this you'll see, but it's my friends, and they're standing with a banner, and they have spelled my name out. And they stood on a street corner, waiting for me to go by, and they had this banner for me. And it made me think that, two things, that yay, I'm running a marathon, but more than that, that my friends and family, they had absolute faith in me. It was just, and we'd never discussed that. I never thought, do I need it or I don't need it? But it's interesting how, I think when you're in the middle of anything that you're a little bit frightened of or concerned about, can I do it? That it's really interesting if you even stop and think about, there's an awful lot of people that will very willingly support you.
Yes.
In
And
all
without
kinds of
that,
ways.
it's very hard to do much of anything, frankly, if we don't have support.
Right. That's a really good point.
Yeah. So when you look at this picture, what does that evoke in you?
Well, it's very funny. Because it was a little while ago, I look at the young faces in the picture and I go, wow, a lot of time's gone by. But the truth is, what it really invokes is you can do it, or that the old Nike ad, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
It just calms me down. I'm totally capable. I think it's that. Now I don't get super confident. That isn't true, but it just relieves some of that anxiety about. Well, I hope. Oh, gee, I don't know if I can do this. Oh, I hope all that kind of mushy. Concern, but you can't really put your finger on it. It just robs your energy.
Right.
Well, I find that kind of anxiety just goes.
Wonderful.
I can do it.
Wonderful.
It's on my wall in my office.
Yeah, so we all have symbols that represent times when we've experienced success. And when we put them front and center, especially when you're going through a challenging period, it reminds us of how capable we actually are. And that's great, because that kind of cancels out, or helps cancel out a lot of that negative thinking that says, oh, I don't know, and all the self-doubt. So this reinforces the fact you have been successful and you can do it.
Right.
So that's beautiful.
Right.
So wonderful, Marilyn.
Well, thank you. But I have to say, I couldn't quite put it together myself. Or not, I couldn't put it together myself. I went until we talked.
Yeah.
And I think that the process of doing something structured, just because that might not work for everyone, but since I'm a technology person, I am a structured person. So having the template was really, really important. And then having the reminder that you can do it. Here's evidence. It could be anything. The first sweater you knitted, the quilt, the child.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes, we've all experienced success. Even the people who think, I don't even know, but if we mind our memory, there's success there.
Right.
So wonderful. That's wonderful. So now, you're welcome. And now I have another question for you, and that is, what's next? What is it that you would like to have support in next in your life?
Well, first off, I want to try out the looking for courage part. I really do want to. I want to exercise that.
Okay.
And I have a client situation that over the next month or two I'll have an opportunity to do that. And then the next thing I'd like to do is I really want to be more efficient about what I do.
Okay.
So it's almost like this. It's like I feel like there's clutter in my mind. There's also clutter in my house, but that's kind of under control. But my mind is a different matter, and I think I'd like to be more efficient. Now I don't mean time management exactly, but my thought process, and this might be a tall order. I don't know, but I'd like to have some guidelines for myself to help me kind of when I am in business mode and I'm thinking about a client situation, how I unclutter my mind so that I'm very purposeful about thinking about the client situation and options and solution directions and plans and things like that.
Okay. So have you ever tried any ways to unclutter your mind? I mean, I'm wondering also, what is the clutter? Do you have an idea of what that is? Or is it just kind of general,
Well,
as the Buddhists call it, monkey mind? You know, it's kind of like all the thoughts circling through, or?
Well, I think some of the clutter is just like a busy mind. And I try to do things like, okay, just get in the present moment. Like just stop and just try to kind of get to the present. And that's good. I can get to the present moment usually with that. But in terms of sustaining, you know, I'd like to be more efficient. And it's like more like quick, like there's background noise going on. And I can't, I don't know whether it's I haven't stopped to really like listen to what the background noise is and try to figure it out, but I know it's there. And I can just tell it's, again, it's clutter. And it also is like robbing me of energy.
Okay.
So that's...
This actually brings me to one of my favorite topics.
Oh, perfect.
Which is meditation. And what's great about meditation, and so we have all these preconceived ideas about it, you know, like I've got to sit in a cross-legged position, you know, sing, I need, you know, a half an hour or whatever, or an hour a day, and you know, and I have to get rid of all the thoughts in my head. And the truth is, it's like there's all different kinds of ways to meditate, but the most simplest way is to literally follow your breath. Put your awareness on your breath going in and out of your body. And so before I go more into that, is that the benefits of meditation are it starts to kind of take that monkey mind and calm it down. Because what our mind is made to do is to think. And it's just like if you had a car and you were running it all the time, it would quickly wear out.
That's right.
So if you give the car a break, then it's able to go on for longer. And the same with our minds, that if we give our minds a break, then we have new energy, we're refreshed, we're clear, it's not as cluttered. There's all kinds of great benefits from that. And the way to give our mind a break is to just shut it down every now and then. And that's the benefit of meditation. And it's very basic, you know, without any kind of spiritual purpose involved in it. It's literally to give our minds a break. Now, one of the major impediments for people is they say, I can't do it because I can't stop thinking. And the truth is there are people who've been practicing meditation for years, and they say they still find themselves lost in thought.
Can't stop thinking.
Pema Chodron, who's written many, many books, said, she talks in one of her tapes about how she heard the gong that started the meditation, and 20 minutes later she heard the gong again, and she realized the whole time she'd been lost in thought. But, so it's a practice, and we need to be patient with ourselves and kind and compassionate towards ourselves about it. It's like anything else. When you started your marathon, you know, when you started running, right? You needed to do it every day to get yourself, to get your body used to it. So it's the same with this. And so what happens is after a while is you start realizing, oh, I'm lost in thought again. And rather than, you know, admonishing yourself for that, you just gradually bring yourself back to your breath. And soon you start noticing more and more, oh, there I am, I'm lost in thought. Okay, back to my breath. And it just calms down your whole being.
Well, it sounds like something, Diane, that would be very useful to me, you know, given what I just described, you know, kind of lot of noise, because it's clutter, but there's also noise going on. So I don't know that I use the particularly like appropriate terms, but it feels like that's what I need to do. I mean, it feels like as you described some of that result of just shut down. So it's kind of like shut down so that you can start again with a clearer focus. I'm kind of putting that
and the
spin
more
on
you can
it,
learn how to shut that down, the more control you have over when it's in high gear, when it's in low gear, to use the car, you know. But you really start to be able to regulate that, and you realize that thinking isn't the be-all, end-all. Like there's other ways of being, and some of that's just being present and experiencing what's around you. You know, this can be, you can do this by starting off 10 minutes in the morning. You know, ideally, the optimum for me in the meditation I do is 20 minutes in the morning. You know, I know people are pressed for time, and I know you've got a really busy life. But what happens is you also can use all those times when you're standing in line at the bank, you know, when you're waiting.
That's right. That's right.
We have a lot of time that we spend waiting.
Right.
And you can actually, if you start to remember, oh yeah, follow my breath. And you can just calm yourself down in the middle of utter chaos. So it's something.
So it sounds great. Is it so? So will you tell me the specifics again, just so that I kind of, because again,
the very basic
in my organized way,
the very basic thing is you can sit in a chair, ideally with both feet on the floor, which helps to kind of ground you. You can even visualize. I ask people to visualize roots coming out the bottom of your feet because that gets you really planted. And then you just start following your breath in and out of your body. And what I do actually is set the timer on my phone so I know when the time's up. So you can choose how much time you want to do it first. And at first it's going to seem like an eternity because you're not used to it. But once again, you know, you start to recognize every time, oh, I'm thinking about work again. Okay, that's fine. Back to my breath. It's going in and out. And just that alone really just kind of dials it back. We live in such a high energy, but we burn out. We live in such a higher energy society, but we burn out easy because we don't often dial it back in a way to just slow it way down. So does that sound something interesting?
Yes,
okay.
It does. I honestly, I would love to. I mean, not to say I would love to try it. I absolutely will try it.
So what? How do you think you might start this, and what are you willing to commit to anything about this, or what would you like to do?
Sure. So first off, I think what I'd like to do is, so I will try it, and this is what I feel very comfortable. Like I could commit to a week of just saying that I could do it.
Okay.
So, and since you suggested 10 minutes before 20 minutes, I'd like to do the 10-minute part, but I definitely could do that for a week.
Okay.
And then I could send you an email and let you know how I did it, or how I did.
Yes.
And then I might, need a tweak from you or not, because maybe I did it great and you say, good, do another week.
Yes.
Or if I have an issue or something, maybe you might be able to give me a suggestion on how to get over that.
Absolutely. I'd love to do that.
But I'd like to at least start like that, to maybe kind of chunk it in a, like, and I don't mean, just 1 week and 2 weeks, but I'd like to just, a week is something I can really get my hands around.
It's a great idea. We often say, okay, I'm going to start this now and do it for the rest of my life. And it feels overwhelming.
It's like really hard, right?
Yeah, so a week is a perfect chunk of time.
So we could do, then kind of, I'll give you a review, and then I can start my second week, and we could see from there. Because, I mean, obviously, it sounds like something that would really be beneficial to me, and I'd be very, very happy to, I'd be very happy to try it. So I like that.
And I would love to hear what you experience from that, and good, bad, whatever. And if you need any further coaching on the specifics of it, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, that sounds great. It's really exciting.
Wonderful.
So thank you very
I'm excited
much.
too.
I am too.
So whatever happens with it, you'll find out.
That's great.
It's been a pleasure being with you.
And it's really been a pleasure. And thank you for your insights. I really, really appreciate them.
You're welcome. And I look forward to also hearing how the template worked next time we meet.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I'll be sure to report back on that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane.
Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about one of my favorite books. It's called Finding Inner Courage by Mark Nepo. And here it is, the cover. It's a beautiful cover with some oranges and fruit on it. And Mark talks about, first off, the meaning of the word courage is heart. It's a Latin word for the word heart. And he talks about how important it is to listen to our heart and find the courage within. One of the things he says here is, this book is an invitation to begin a relationship with life itself, always listening for what it wants to say. So it's about listening what your heart wants to say and listening to what life wants to say to you. In the listening, we're able to tune more into what our heart is leading us to do and say. And that's where we're going to find courage to follow through and actually express that in the world. One of the other things, big pieces he talks about in here, is standing by your core. We've all been encouraged to look out here for what it is we need in life. In fact, it started in the womb. We had an umbilical cord that nourished us. So we learned very early, pre-verbal, in the womb, that where we get what we want is from the outside. As we become adults, that shifts, and we actually have the ability to give ourselves that from the inside. So making that shift is helping us to become mature adults, and also allows us to find the courage by cluing into who we are, standing by who we are, and finding those resources within. He writes some beautiful things in here, and he has some beautiful passages. And I want to just read one of them to you. And when pushed below our frightened sense of self, we do not die, we live. So he talks about challenging ourselves and really moving beyond those limits and those places that say, no, I can't do that. I really shouldn't step out and do that. So he really talks about standing by what it is our heart wants and allowing that to be expressed. And there's another beautiful thing here. It says, it's a curious thing. The river runs free. Though it's contained by the banks that it carves, the way our love runs free, contained by the things that we love. And so once again, it's a great book to kind of help you get clear on standing by your core, standing by your heart, really listening to it, and developing the courage you need in order to express that heart in the world. So I highly recommend it, Finding Inner Courage by Mark Nepo. Another nice thing about it, he's very poetic, so it's beautifully written. So enjoy. Thank you. Welcome back. So today we spoke with Marilyn Collins, and she's made great strides in finding courage. She wasn't able to find a medal, but she found a photo of herself crossing that finish line. So once again, what in your life are you looking for courage to step out towards in order to express your full self in the world? Where do you need to find that courage in your life? And what from your past can you remember that was a time when you did experience courage? We all have times like that. So don't let your judge tell you didn't. Find the time in your life when you experienced courage, when you stood tall by yourself, and bring some memento into your current day and remind yourself that it's there inside of you, just waiting to be expressed. We have a very short time on this earth, 100 years if we're lucky. So we want to use that time to express as much of ourselves, our full selves that we can. We all have gifts that we come into the world with. And these gifts are here to be expressed. They live in our hearts. I bring this box here to show people, to remind people of the gift of who they are. We all have those. So email me. I want to hear from you. What's going on in your life? What part of your life would you like to find more courage from? Where have you been successful in finding the courage to express who you are in the world, to share your gift with everyone? We're all waiting for it. So please, find it within yourself to bring it out into the world and share it with us. What a beautiful world this would be if we all were sharing our gifts to our fullest. Thanks for tuning in. You've been watching the Diane Ingram Show today. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to seeing you again. Take care.